So I can't remember if I've talked about this before, especially here, about the idea that in today's day and age, especially within short form content, especially good short form content, it takes a lot to make good quality, good informational, substance based short form content. Because essentially, you have to take an idea, break it down, and explain it in short form ways that still make sense and you can convey what you want to convey. The thing about it is, it's good for awareness of the ideas. It's not as good about deepening and allowing whoever the viewer is to actually get all the context. But that's not exactly the point because all the context is there. It's just that you ingesting it in that method will not stick. But the fact that somebody did the work to condense it down is amazing and very useful when the short form is something useful. Like explaining a really significant advancement in science or a white paper or a geopolitical event or a philosophy in less than 2 minutes. That's really, really cool. And it has a significant impact to the exposure of certain information. But where I have the issue is I think about some of the best in quotations, some of my favorite Instagram creators. They have a very large catalog at this point. And because Instagram works the way it works, the new stuff will always continue to be needed in order for you to be relevant, to make a job, to make a living out of doing what you do, regardless of if you want to see it that way or not. If you want to be a social media content creator, you got to make new stuff. It's not so much like the music industry where you don't have to make new stuff to continue because you have royalties, you have touring, you have brand partnerships, and you can get brand partnerships with the content creation that can help subsidize. But that brand partnership is most of the time not going to go to the old stuff, and that's the short form issue. The short form issue is amazing for exposure, and if you're good, it will get you seen. But there's still a whole catalog of short form stuff that you've made in the past that probably will never see the light of day because they were just for then and there. Despite whatever the subject may be, it doesn't have to be things that are relevant to right now today. It could just be exploring different philosophies. And exploring different philosophies, it could just be omniscient of the modern times. And if you go back, or marketing tactics, or fashion, these are just omniscient of our current times in terms of how any creator is actually analyzing it. But all that is good content and arguably some of the best content because to condense it down at that length, you cut all the flack. And these are the most important things that you felt like should be in there. Whereas long form, excuse me, there still is there still is more room for that buffer space, that filler space that a lot of people leave there because it is long form. Whereas imagine you get in a lecture in exactly 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute lecture. That 30-minute lecture, when you're in school and college and stuff like that, and even high school, this 30-minute lecture, we're going to cover what we can cover in this 30-minute lecture. And then the next 30-minute lecture, we can continue off where we left. But it stops at that 30 minutes. We're just in a hypothetical scenario here. And with that limitation, it doesn't necessarily stop the information from being valuable, but because you're at odds with the pacing, the subject matter, the pacing of the curriculum versus the students' learning ability, all these different things, when you're assessing, okay, what can we get through today, you might not be able to get through as much because of it's a harder topic. So instead of getting through a whole unit in one lecture, it's splitting the unit into two. And that's kind of how I think about short form versus long form. Is short form is exactly, it has to be precise in what the motif is and what you're trying to say, because it's short and you got to be able to get from point A to point B with a through line that makes sense. Whereas long form, there's no rules in terms of the content side of things. You can make a video essay breaking down a movie that's 4 hours long, or a video game that's 3 hours long. Or you can do the same thing in 20 minutes, and both will get watched because they both have their audiences. But there's undoubtedly more filler in the longer video than there is the shorter video. And I don't think the quality gap is correlated with that length gap. Again, going back to talking about the plethora of long form content. The long form content is better suited, as we see in YouTube, for still being able to get rediscovered, because it's not about the exposure, it's about the content. So if the video is good and YouTube thinks that you're going to watch the video however long, it will get showed to you and it will get discovered for you. Whereas it's not so much the case with short form content on Instagram or even on YouTube. And it's because of the mechanism of the short form content. It's meant to expose, it's meant to help the creators, and it's meant to kind of be that dopamine hit for the viewer, and also give a better data point for the algorithms for the long form content as well. So all of this funnels into the point that I think that that's a gap. And I think that that's a gap that I don't know what the real solution is, because some of these creators will never make long form content. Some of these Instagram Reels creators just make Instagram Reels and will continue to pump out the new stuff because that's what pay the bills. That's what get them the more exposure, more followers, more partnerships, more money, make a living. And they'll never transition over to the long form content that will then allow for them to get discovered. And now, here's the interesting part, because now I see these free TV channels, like the stuff that comes stock with your TVs, like the Google Play TV or the Vizio TV or the Fubo or whatever all the different free internet channels are. You see a Mr. Beast having his own internet channel that's free, just like YouTube is free. and it goes through all of his older videos, and that's bringing the TV model back. But it's bringing the TV model back in a very interesting way for these creators that have a large backlog that's valuable and not so time dependent, but the content is timeless in terms of entertainment or in terms of subject matter that isn't dependent on the relevancy of right now, or even if it is, it still can have a place. So what does the future look like with those backlogs of good videos, short form or long form? Because even sometimes on the long form side of things, what does that look like implemented, monetizing in that way? Because I look at some of these creators like, oh, you make great videos. I would love to see the through line. I would love to see just your videos. But to go to somebody's channel and to just scroll through all their videos is not really a practical thing that most people do or should do, in my opinion. Because, man, I have no idea what that might do to your algorithm. I think that's where my mind goes, into one solution. But it just blows my mind that there's that much good content that will never be discovered or doesn't have an ability to be discovered because of the way that things are set up, unless you manually go in and backtrace. But then even then, you think about how difficult that would be if you've been doing it for 10 years on the same channel and you've been making reels. It's 2035 for somebody to go back and go through all your reels. It's crazy. And if you don't have them stored anywhere, how can you control your backlog? And that's the thing that's like, whoa. And even with me, for these videos, as soon as I'm done recording them, uploading them, they get deleted off my phone, because this is the internet's event horizon. After all, I'm not trying to get these in a backlog. This is just meant to go out, and it's like the name says, the event horizon. It's just out there. Can't really escape, but it will hopefully, probably, just be here forever, out in the abyss, which is cool, and it's enough for me, because it's just putting it out there. Who knows? Maybe one day this will be like that one guy. It's like, just buy one Bitcoin right now, in like 2012 or something like that, and then it blows up because, oh my God, he had such good foresight. I'm not saying that's what I really want, but I'm just speaking my mind, and it would be profound to see, for me to go back and see, like, oh, I thought about that. Because, like, can you really believe SanDisk has had, like, exorbitant amounts of value increase in market cap in 1 year? And hindsight is 2020, but we're in a digital age. I am a creator. I am a programmer. I understand the AI. I understand storage. I am a photographer. I understand photos, and I understand the market. SanDisk and Samsung have the market share. Seagate has the market share in just the creator and storage capacity side of things. And then whoever makes the tape storage, I don't know who does that, but that's like more archival stuff. But hey, I might need to look into that. But hindsight's 2020 because it was obvious. We're running out of storage. We need storage because these models are large. Duh. Data centers. Duh. But it's just the fact that you got to put two and two together. And to be ahead of that, to see that pattern ahead, I was like, I saw it, but I didn't have